Well, hey guys, what's going on? I had to have Cash. This is Johnny Cash. He's saying hi. What's up? Hello. He's joining the show just for a second today to introduce you guys. I posted a little bit of him on Instagram, and he's the newest member of the Conservative Mama Headquarters family. So he's multi-poo rescue. It was an owner surrender, and I don't know why anyone would surrender him. I don't understand it. Although he's a little bit of work. This is what I've been doing. This whole week I have been dog sitting, babysitting, out in the backyard playing with the puppy. And it's a lot of work. And he's starting to sleep a little bit more through the night. But you can say hi. You can say hi. He's so chill. He's so chill. Isn't he cute? Okay. You guys gotta post your dogs on here. Always give me kisses. Kisses. All right. I'm gonna let him go now. And we're gonna start this show. We're gonna recap the week. But I wanted to introduce you to Cash because he's adorable. I have a bigger dog, a Belgian Malinois, Dutch Shepherd, German Shepherd, and he's starting to like Cash a little bit. But he's got to learn to play like nicely because, he's this big dog and, it's got a lot of grit to him. And so he's got to learn that Cash is he's too sensitive. So he'll like play with him, but he's like tucks back his teeth so he doesn't hurt him, which is really sweet. It just shows how smart Ringo is. Johnny Ringo. We got a Johnny Ringo. We got a Johnny Cash in the house. All right, you guys, what's going on? A lot happening. And like I said, ever since Trump has been back into office, it's been hard to keep up. Honestly, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I feel like I'm like, what happened? What? There's always something new happening. There's probably 10 things that have happened since I've gone live on here that you might know before I do. So if some stuff breaks, just drop it in the comments because it's nonstop. And it's a brilliant strategy because some people are like, why there's just so much going on. It's kind of just like a blitz, right? Where you just go all in and you move so fast that the opposition has no time to react to it. They're just like, what? Like, they can get mad about us kicking out the illegal people that have come here and caused crime in our country and have violated women and trafficked children. And the left can be losing their minds over, no, we want to keep these people here. And then over here, he's not, we got RFK Jr. in, we got Tulsi in, we're exposing stuff that U.S. aid and abuse and waste, and then we're taking Gaza. We're solving peace in the Middle East. We're gonna cause Ukraine and Russia to be cool again. Like it's like all of this going on that they can't. It's just too much. They're just like, what? So they don't know how to deal with it. Right. And so because usually the media will take something like this is what they did last Trump administration. They take something he said. Right. And he would say stuff sometimes. And I'm like, oh, why'd you say that? Don't say that. But they take something he said. And then that would be the news for the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Your middle of the road, unaffiliated, independent voter will be like, I can't believe Trump said that. And that would be the news cycle. And that's it. But they're moving so fast that the media doesn't know what to focus on. It's like whack-a-mole. It's what I told my supporters this week. It's like they don't know how to, and it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I believe it's calculated. This is planned to come with such a force that they don't know what to focus on. And I'm loving every minute of it. I really am loving every minute of it. I don't think people fully understand the history that we're living in right now. This is unprecedented. For years and years and years, we have seen our government abuse its power, wield its power with no one checking it, no one holding it accountable. And for the first time, we are now seeing people saying, wait a minute, we need to show the American people what's been going on. We need to expose what has been hidden. We need to expose waste and fraud. We need it all out there. We need to let the American people see what's going on. And this has not been done. Even, Republicans are at fault too with a lot of this stuff. A lot of the abuse and the waste, and seeing these politicians get filthy rich. How does somebody on $100,000 to $200,000 salary become worth hundreds of millions of dollars? Like, isn't that just a common sense question? Even if you're a lefty on here and you're like, I hate Trump, I can't stand him, he's horrible. Like, don't you wonder that? Like, don't you have just a little bit of like, wait, yeah, how did they get that much money? Like, maybe we should look into it. And that's what's happening. And I love it. I'm loving every minute. Since I got on here last, we had the Super Bowl. That was a boring Super Bowl. I'm sorry, but it was like, I was just like, I just not even, and congratulations to the Eagles. I mean, way to go. But it wasn't, I like a close game. And I do enjoy watching sports. I've got kids that play sports. I enjoy it. Not as much as my husband or my son, but I like a close game. Like, I don't like a runaway where it's just like, oh, they're clearly going to win. This is, like, I like it where it's like neck and neck and you're like, oh, what's going to happen? And you're in it. And that wasn't this game. And I don't know, the gossip side of it, and we shouldn't gossip, but the gossip side of it is the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, do they stay together? Like, that's my big thing. Like, I'm wondering, are they going to, was this just a, kind of like a love story and it ends with a loss at the Super Bowl? Or are we going to see like it continue on and a proposal? And I don't know. We'll see. But that was interesting to watch that loss. And the commercials, there was no commercials that really did it for me. I was just like, oh, okay. And I did not watch the halftime. I did not watch the halftime performance because the guy that was performing, big into abortion. And at one point he was wearing a crown of thorns on his head, kind of mocking Christ. And I don't need to watch you. I don't need that. I don't need to watch you. So I have little to say about the Super Bowl. Like, okay. What else happened? Tulsi Gabbard has been confirmed. RFK Jr. has been confirmed. This is very exciting. We just need Kash Patel in there now, okay? Especially with these forewarnings that people are getting. Like, supposedly the FBI is like hinting that raids are taking place. So we've got moles, we got bad people in the FBI that got to get rooted out, and Kash Patel's the guy to do it. So that's why they're stonewalling this whole thing. That's why they're dragging their feet, because they don't want all of the exposure. They don't want the American people to know about the corruption within our own intelligence community. Like, they don't want, so they're just like delaying as much as possible, but it's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're going to get them in there. We're going to clean house. It needs to happen. So I am thrilled about Tulsi and RFK Jr. Like I mentioned before, initially when RFK Jr. started out, I was like, meh. Like, I wasn't feeling it because I thought he was going to take votes from Trump. So I was never like, oh, RFK. Like, I was like, no, why are you running? You're going to take votes from Trump. So I was defensive of Trump in that regard. But then I started to listen to the guy and I'm like, well, wait a minute. He's saying some stuff that I really like agree with. And then I became like, yeah, like all in on the guy, because I'm like, yes, there is such a marriage taking place between big pharma and our food and our food industry, where we're making food that's making people sick, and then we're sending them over to big pharma to get pumped full of all sorts of drugs, and therefore it's a horrible cycle. And the obesity rates and unhealthiness that is in our country, and the things we allow in our food that other countries don't allow in our food, that don't allow in their food. It's ridiculous. And I'm glad that we've got someone in there that sees it. He sees it. And so I hope he goes in there and cleans house as well. I'm enjoying it all, really. And I did hear a guy on Conservative Talk Radio this week talking about how Fauci, yes, he did get a pardon, but that doesn't prevent him from having states file charges against him and what he did. So that'll be interesting to watch that unfold if any states then start to file charges, because I do want to see justice with that. I mean, the way COVID was handled, just, it was terrible, like the whole time through. And when you find out that our own government funded gain of function research, which then is a huge contributor to the coronavirus that then hit the world and killed people, and then telling people we had to force ourselves to be injected with a experimental substance pushed by big pharma and our own government. And if we didn't, we couldn't feed our families. We had to shut down our businesses. We shut down parks. We shut down beaches. We shut down lakes. We shut down playgrounds. It was insane. And there needs to be some accountability for it. We were told that we had to put some piece of fabric across our face that did not prevent, was not able to filter the microns that were as small as the coronavirus. Like, it was all just a bunch of BS. And it drove families crazy, and it drove people I know and love and care about to hate me for speaking up about it. But I'm like, listen, they're lying to us. This is a lie, telling us that we had to stay 6 feet apart. That was just a number that somebody just pulled out of the sky. Like, it was insane. The whole thing was insane. And there needs to be accountability for it. And I'm hoping that it's not just something that we're just, let it go. And we shut down churches, you guys. People didn't go to church. The government has no right to tell you to do any of that stuff. The government overreach during COVID it was so abhorrent. It's so wrong. It's on so many levels, and there needs to be some kind of accountability for what happened. And never again. When I say that, never again. And when you look at tyranny and dictatorships that take over people, mass people groups, they always disarm, and then they push fear. And thank God we still have our guns, right? But the left wants the guns. Okay, so that's just, right now we're good, but they're always going to be trying to come for the guns. And fear controls people. If you can get them to fear, you can get them to do anything you want to do. And so you cannot operate in fear. You can't allow people to push fear on you. And gosh, that's what we saw with COVID. So anyways, that was just a rant about RFK Jr. and excitingness, because he saw it all go down. And so I'm hoping that we do see justice as things start to unfold and develop. What else? Okay. I love this. I love this part. This is Attorney General Pam Bondi files charges against Governor of New York, Hochul, the AG there, Letitia James, and the DMV Commissioner, Mark Schroeder. in New York State. So this is one of my favorites that happened this week.
Here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today.
I love it. Yes, it stops, and it stops today. I don't know why anyone, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, would be okay with these far leftist governors, far leftist AGs prioritizing illegal aliens over American citizens. Like, I don't know how you're like, yeah, that's a good thing. Let's do it. Like we've got AOC on X right now telling illegal aliens how to escape, to avoid ICE and to avoid deportation. And there's part of me that's like, why are you in Congress? Like, why are you governor of New York, Hochul? Why are you AG, Letitia James? If your priority isn't for Americans and protecting Americans, why are you holding office? Like, why are you there? And for us to witness these people putting illegal immigrants in front of Americans, we've got this angel mom standing there that lost their child because of an illegal immigrant, maybe through drugs, maybe through violation, murder, like all of this stuff. That's how these angel moms lose their children. And instead of focusing on them and saying, hey, we're gonna prevent this from happening to any other parent. We don't want any other parent to go through what you've gone through, the tragedy, the loss. It's terrible. So we're going to do everything we can to secure our border and protect you and Americans. That's not what they're doing. They're saying, we don't care about you, angel moms. Sorry for your loss, but not sorry. We're prioritizing the illegal immigrants. And I don't know how anyone really, let me know how anyone could be like, yes, that's good. Let's do that. Let's prioritize them. Let's get more of the Venezuelan gang members into the country and cause more havoc and murder and crime. Let's do it. Let's not. And that's what we've seen these leftist governors do. I'm in the state of Colorado. I've got Jared Polis here. This guy, man, and don't let him fool you. Okay, he'll go on Fox News here and there like he's just this libertarian, live and let live governor. It's just a bunch of bull is what it is. He's not at all. He is far left, and he has made Colorado a sanctuary state. And because of that, if you guys have been following the news at all, we've got Aurora with the Tren de Aragua gang members and ICE raids taking place there. And do you remember over the summer where mainstream media was like, that's not happening. There are no Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado. That is just false. That is false news. And now we've watched them go full circle, and they're like, okay, there are, and it's bad, and we need to do something about it. I'm excited for Pam Bondi doing this. I think it needs to happen. Come for Jared, man. Come for Polis here. He's doing the same thing. Pam Bondi, come this way, because we're dealing with the same thing here. And it's not, and it's not. You're not protecting Americans. Don't hold office. Resign. Hang it up. You're done. You shouldn't be holding office. You shouldn't be a congresswoman if you're not going to put Americans first. What are you doing? What are you doing? So that was I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And we'll see it unfold. Hopefully we see more of this. And maybe it'll wake some people up. Maybe they're like, well, I don't want charges filed against me. Maybe I will, I don't know, secure our own country, state's borders. and maybe we will cooperate with ICE. So we'll see. This was a funny one this week. The Elon and Trump presser. I'm going to show you just a few minutes of it. I was highly entertained because it just seemed like off the cusp, like just like we're gonna do it now. And Elon had his little son there, and very much a child. I couldn't have my kids, sit through a press conference. They'd be like, "What are we doing? Can we go outside? Can we?" Like they would not and maybe that's bad parenting of me, where I'm like, listen, although they are quiet in church, but it'd be like all the cameras and distraction. They'd be like, well, so we see little X on there, and he's one point, he's picking his nose. He's telling people to shush. And the media took it and they were like, yeah, he told Trump to shush. I'm like, that's not what happened. Trump is sitting at the Oval Office desk, and the press is all right here. And Elon's son's right here, and he's going shush. And he's talking to the press who are talking while his dad is talking. So I thought that was cute. And what else did he do? That he was just all over the place. And so, but I loved it because it was such a human moment, we're parents, we have kids. They should be seen. They should be, it should be normalized again. We need to promote parenthood. We need to promote children and having children. And I love it that you see this little guy just around with his dad, like it's no big deal. So here's a few minutes of it, and then we'll kind of discuss in a second, but here we go.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about 30 million,
right,
etc.?
Well, we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened at USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps. But just there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So, we're looking at, if you look at, say, Treasury, for example, basic controls that should be in place, that are in place in any company, such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation, can take up to a year to get on the list, and even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing. So what we're talking about here, we're really just talking about adding common sense controls that should be present, that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest.
So, I mean, it's a 30-minute press conference, a little over 30 minutes, where they're just talking. They're just talking and saying what they found. And there's some things that stood out to me. The blank checks. So how is this okay? They have blank checks that are being written or contracts that are canceled, but the people still keep getting money. So let's say you were contracted by the federal government for, 5 years or something like that. Well, once your contract is up, you still keep getting money. You still, and they found tons of examples of this. People still getting paid years, 10 years, decades later for a contract that ended years ago. That's your money. This is what just drives me crazy, because the last 4 years, I don't know about you guys, but it's not been just coasting. Okay. Watching my savings deplete, watching inflation skyrocket, grocery prices go up, things you could afford, you can't afford, cutting things out of your budget because you got to make ends meet. And then we find out that our federal government is funding and abusing and taking American taxpayer money and just blowing it. Now, if you struggled at all over the last, I don't know, let's say 10, 20 years, the fact that this is going on is just it's a giant screw you. Watch, sorry, but that's what it is to the American people. They're so disrespectful to us who work for our money, first of all, we're taxed on that, okay? And then we're taxed again when we go shopping. And then it's tax after tax after tax. And they're taking that money and they're funding transgender comic books in Peru. They're paying for meals for Al Qaeda. Okay, they're paying contractors for work that had been completed years ago, but they're still collecting a check. And what he said that really stood out to me was it's a complaint-based kind of like world in the federal government. Like if people complain, then they take a look at it. But if no one's complaining, then it just kind of keeps going, right? So it keeps going. Like if you're a contractor and you're continuing to get your money after you finish the contract years ago, you're not going to say anything. I mean, if you're a person that's got some integrity, you would, but I mean, they just keep taking the money. They've got people that are 150 years old getting Social Security checks. 150 years old. Who is collecting that money? Who is that person that's collecting that money? And then this was what it and I want more of this, go deeper on this. They're over in the IRS. They're going to check out the IRS. They're going to go to the Department of Defense, go into our Department of Education. I mean, uncover this stuff and expose it. And then we need accountability on top of that. The people that have been making money off of us, they need to be held accountable. But this got me because Elon's talking and he was saying that only a certain amount of people can retire each year from the federal government. I'm like, why? Why can't they have to limit how many people retire? And I'm like, what? Why? And he's like, it's closer to 10,000 people can retire each year. We can't go over that. And then he went on to say that the retirement paperwork is done manually. And it's stored in a limestone cavern underground that people work in. Okay. And I thought at this point, I'm like, he's totally joking. Like, this is not real, right? Like, this is a joke. And then I looked into it and it's a real thing. They have an elevator shaft that they send this paperwork down in. Seriously. Okay. Goes down the elevator shaft. People in the bottom, they get the paperwork and then they take it and they file it. And they can only do so much of it because the elevator shaft can only move so much during, over the course of a year. And there's only so many people working down there that can file it. And I'm like, are you kidding me? AI is about to take over our world, and we're using an elevator shaft in a mine underneath ground to file paperwork so that people can retire from the federal government. Tell me this is a joke. It's not a joke. Here's a picture of the actual the mine with the paperwork there. Okay? Like, that's crazy. There's 700 mine workers operate 230 feet underground to practice about 10,000 applications per month, which are stored in manila envelopes and cardboard boxes. And I was talking to my husband about this because I was like, I really thought it was a joke. It's not a joke. And it would be funny if I would have time to do like a satiric video of somebody working in the mine. And what I've found with the federal government, and I know a lot of people that work for the federal government, they love it. They love it. They punch in 9 to 5. They take a ton of vacations. Nobody's watching them. They collect their pensions. It's great. It's great. It's almost like it's impossible to get fired. I mean, why wouldn't you work for the federal government, right? I mean, it's great. It's great. But the thing is, what's so different with the federal government and then you have private government is there's no one's really trying to make a name for themselves, right? Like, no one's trying to say, hey, wait a minute, we've got, hold on a second. I work in the mine underground, and this isn't the most efficient process. I think we should, I don't know, maybe go over to like a more of a digital filing, and we could eliminate the mine shaft, the living underneath the ground. I mean, there's a lot we could do here, but nobody says that in the federal government because there's no innovation, and it doesn't matter. Like, you're still getting your paycheck. So why come up with a better process, right? Like, who cares? You're still getting paid, still getting your pension, all good. It's fine. We'll stick with the 10,000 applicants a year filing for retirement. We'll just stay here. And in private companies, man, if it's not moving and flowing and functioning to the best of its ability, it's gone. Sorry, this is a bad idea. We're throwing it out. Next. Bad idea. Next. Okay, this works. Let's make it work. Does it make money for us? Okay, great. We're going to use it. Government doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So they're fine. They're absolutely fine with this process. And it's insane that I didn't even know about this process until Elon said something in the presser. The fact that we have a limestone mine that we keep the retirement paperwork in manila folders, in cardboard boxes, and we have to use an elevator shaft that, what happens when it stops working? Only 9,000 people can retire this year. It's insane. It's absurdity. And I couldn't believe it. And I thought of this, like, so I was thinking, like, this totally reminds me of like Harry Potter, right? So I made this really quick.
Very well.
Vault 687. Lamp, please.
I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy, you guys. And I don't know, maybe we could come up with a better idea. I'm just throwing it out there, but I think we could come up with a better idea. Anyways, and I liked what he said. He goes, we're just adding common sense controls that should be present. Like, this is not a good idea. So like, let's apply common sense. And the amount of people that are having such a hard time with this is baffling to me. And I'm highly entertained by them. Because first of all, if you're having a hard time with the government waste and abuse being exposed, you're obviously probably dirty, right? You've made some money doing it, or you just have no place in your brain at all for common sense. Like, it's just, you can't handle it. Like, you can't. It's common sense is what it is. Like, this isn't working. This is bad. This needs to be exposed. That we need to get rid of this, okay? And anybody having a hard time with it is just really showing their cards to me. It's making it completely obvious that, hey, Maybe you're not the good person that a lot of people thought you were if you're having an issue with this. And the meltdown of the people right now they just can't handle it. I want to know where my money's going. I want to know how it's being spent. I want to know how it's being abused. And I want to know who's gotten a lot of money and gotten rich off of it. That's what I want to know. And I think everybody should want to know that. So here we go. Musk did say on X that they just discovered that FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal immigrants. He said the money is intended for disaster relief and would be clawed back. I mean, that's insane, you guys. $59 million going to house illegal immigrants in New York City. I don't know if I don't think I have Josh Hawley on here, but I was watching him talk, and he was saying that he wants a full audit on Ukraine. He wants a full audit on where the money for Ukraine, the billions and billions of dollars that we've sent that country, full audit. We need a full audit on it. And I would love that. Let's find out where it went. Because there's all sorts of information I've gotten on where it went, where it has gone, and we need to verify where it's gone and who's gotten rich off of it. Let's see here. Cameron Hamilton, the acting administrator of the Federal Emergency Management Agency of FEMA, reposted Musk's comments about the $59 million and said the payments were suspended as of Sunday. So it's just nuts. And now they're going to the IRS, which I love. Let's go. Let's make it happen. Really quick, I got to give a shout out to Patriot Protect. I've kind of partnered with them. Scammers don't sleep every day, and they steal millions of hardworking Americans' money through fake IRS calls, Medicare fraud, tech support scams, and phishing emails. But you don't have to be their next victim. You can get Patriot Protect, and it protects you, guarding your phone, your accounts, and your family from a relentless wave of fraud. It identifies identity threats, it neutralizes risks, and it continues the monitoring. So these guys pretty much protect your privacy online, which is very important considering all of the fraud that we have seen that I've been talking about just in our own government. But there are private fraudsters out there that I still get stuff with the texting sometimes of, and it would be awesome to have a company like Patriot Protect come in and they get rid of that stuff. And they're constantly scanning. That's what I love too. Cause I was like, how do you, once you go on and let's say I don't want my address out there. I don't want personal information that I have. I don't want it out there. How do you then prevent it from popping up again? And they said that they're constantly surveilling it. It's constant surveillance. And so that's very reassuring to know. So you guys can go there and you can enter the code word MAMA for 15% off. All right. This was a funny one this week. Trump bans the forced use of paper straws. And to be honest with you, I only used a paper straw a couple times, and it was a horrible experience every single time. I'm like, why? They get mushy, right? They get it sticks to your lips, and then there's glue in it. And then when you start to really think about what is glue? Glue either comes from collagen of hooves from animals and stuff like that, which is gross in itself, or it's completely made of chemicals. So as we're trying to be green and health conscious and saving the planet, you're putting chemicals on your mouth and drinking, or you're putting cow hooves on your mouth and drinking. And then you're also killing a ton of trees to save the planet. And I had to take that, and I did a little satire. In case you missed it, here it is.
Trump just signed an executive order ending the forced use of paper straws. I hope people are now planning for the planet to explode. And I'm gonna really, really miss paper straws. I'm gonna miss the challenge of drinking out of a paper straw. I mean, it was like trying to sip a smoothie out of an old dish rag. I felt like I was achieving something when I did it. And I'm gonna miss the taste. I mean, there was always that hint of cardboard flavor in every sip. But now it's gonna be gone. And I always felt like I was becoming one with nature, you know, when I drank out of a paper straw, because as the straw would dissolve into my drink, I felt like I was drinking a tree, you know, because paper is made from trees. It's just really bad news, you guys.
It's so bad. It's so bad, you guys. What this basically, this executive order is, it's just like, it's returning freedom back to you. You should decide how you're gonna consume your drink. You get to decide. Nobody gets to tell you what kind of straw you have to use anymore. Isn't that nice? That's how it should be. We don't need anybody telling us how we're gonna consume our drink, our beverage. Like, stop it. And so that was fun. That was fun. The fun one to make. This I also loved. Marc Fogel was freed this week. He was an American school teacher who was arrested in August of 2021 by Russian authorities for trying to enter Russia with 0.6 ounces of medical cannabis in June of 2022. He was sentenced to 14 years in prison, and he was released this week on February 11th. And that was just awesome to see. And there's got to be part of you, again, that has got to say, well, why didn't we get this guy out? Like, why couldn't Biden get him out? Like, we've had Marc Fogel, and then I think it was another 6 guys, Americans from Venezuela. So already within the month of being president, Trump has gotten, like, I don't know, like 7 people, hostages, out of the countries that they were being held in. Like what? Honestly, like that. Why didn't Biden do that? Don't you got, if you're a Biden person, if you're a lefty, if you're a Democrat, like, why didn't your guys do that? Why did they just leave Americans in these countries to rot in prisons? Like, I thought it was, don't leave any Americans behind. Like, what? Are you curious on why? And for me, I know, like, for me, I believe that letting these people rot in foreign countries and their lives waste away, and not interceding as a government to go get your Americans out of there, it caused, like, Americans to kind of a loss of hope as Americans, right? It was all, the whole Biden administration was to rob America of any kind of patriotism, any kind of love of country, or we can do this, or because we're America, we're gonna help. We're gonna get our Americans out of there. We're gonna do it because we're America. That American exceptionalism, like, that was just wiped out during Biden. And so it'd be like, no, we're not gonna. They're no different than anybody else. American, it doesn't, or Mexican. There's no difference, right? There was no pride of country. We got Americans rotting in other prisons right now, and we're going to do whatever we can to get them out. We didn't see that with Biden, because it was the American spirit, the love of country was eradicated during his term, like, just completely eradicated. And now we're starting to see it start to revive. Like, it's okay. It's okay to love your country. It's okay to want what's best for your country. It's okay to want to go and get Americans out of tough situations because they're American. There's that brotherly love that we have for other Americans. And I think that's why they let these guys just rot in prisons over there and didn't do anything about it. I mean, that's my take on it. That's what I think happened. Trump said, when I saw Marc Fogel's mother at a rally, she said, if you win, will you get my son out? I promised her. She's 95 years old. And I said, we'll get him out, and we'll get him out quickly. And here's Marc Fogel once he arrived on American soil, kissing the ground, just ecstatic. Here he is shaking President Trump's hand. And wow, what a moment. What a moment. And, you know, Biden could have had this. He could have done it, but he didn't. He chose not to. And you should ask yourself why. You should ask yourself why. Let's see. What else happened this week, you guys? Okay. Trump said that he was going to visit Putin, and Russia will visit, and Putin will visit with Trump. In a post on Truth Social, he mentions that he had a lengthy and highly productive phone call with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. We discussed Ukraine, the Middle East, energy, artificial intelligence, the power of the dollar, and various other subjects. We both reflected on the great history of our nations and the fact that we fought successfully together in World War II, remembering the Russia lost tens of millions of people, and we likewise lost so many. And he basically says that he wants to work with Putin to resolve the conflict and the war in Ukraine. So we'll see what can be done here. He's got CIA John Radcliffe, a national security advisor, Mike Waltz, and Ambassador and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to lead negotiations. Millions of people have died in the war. That would not have happened if I were president. And that is just so disheartening in itself, like the loss of life. And there was a moment, if you guys remember, there was a moment where I believe Zelensky wanted some kind of negotiation, and the U.S. under Biden said, no, we're not negotiating anything. And then they went on and they had this war and millions of people died. For what? Like, for what? And at the same time, billions of dollars spent, and we don't know where it went. And then Trump later tweeted out that he also spoke with Zelensky of Ukraine. The conversation went very well. He, like President Putin, wants to make peace. We discussed a variety of topics having to do with war, but mostly the meeting that is being set up on Friday in Munich. So that's today, when Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio will lead a delegation. I am hopeful that the results of the meeting will be positive. It is time to stop this ridiculous war, where there have been a massive and where there has been massive and totally unnecessary death and destruction. God bless the people of Russia and Ukraine. And if we see this get done, again, amazing, right? Amazing. So it needs to end. It needs to end. So hopefully we see that this follow through and the deal gets done. And I wouldn't think anybody else could do the deal like Trump can. He is an incredible negotiator. And somehow I really do believe that they'll work out negotiations and they'll get it done. And again, it makes me sad because this didn't need to happen. It didn't need to happen. And you would think right now, all the people that were wearing the Ukraine pins, right? That, all of the people that were, rocking the Ukraine pins and cheering on Zelensky, you would think that they would be ecstatic right now. You would think that all the lefties and all the Democrats out there would be like, yes, let's end this. Like, enough death. They're quiet. Not a sound. This was interesting to me. Let's see here. And I don't know. I don't know what to think about this one, but we'll discuss. Here you go.
You said before that the U.S. would buy Gaza, and today you just said we're not going to buy Gaza.
We're not going to have to buy. We're going to have Gaza. We don't have to buy. There's nothing to buy. We will have Gaza.
What does that mean?
No reason to buy. There is nothing to buy. It's Gaza. It's a war-torn area. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. A lot of jobs are going to be created for the people in the Middle East. It's going to be for the people in the Middle East. But I think it can be a diamond. It can be an absolute tremendous asset for the Middle East. And you're going to have peace. It's going to bring peace in the Middle East. Gaza, the way it is right now, every 10 years you're going to have the same thing happening. I've watched it so long, all the death and destruction of Gaza. The civilization's been wiped out in Gaza. No, it's going to be a tremendous thing. It's fronting on the sea. It's going to be a great economic development job. It's going to put people to work, a lot of people to work. And those people are all going to be from the Middle East.
Okay, so that's interesting to me. And I really don't, like, this is the one thing that I'm like struggling with. I'm like, wait a minute. We're just going to go take it? Like, what? Well, I don't know how this works. And I'm sure other people do, or maybe you guys do. But when he said the U.S. isn't buying Gaza, we're going to have Gaza. There's nothing to buy. We're going to take it. We're going to hold it. We're going to cherish it. Now, do I think that something needs to be done over there? Yes, because like Trump said, my hair. Like he said, every 10 years you have this terrible outbreak and everybody starts fighting everybody and everybody's, killing everybody out. And it's just, there's no peace in the Middle East. We've heard it since I was born. It's always been going on, and it's been going on biblically since the beginning of time. So yes, something needs to be done. What does this look like? I don't know what this looks like. And I mentioned it to you guys from a biblical point of view. I'm very curious about all of this. I will be watching all of it unfold. Like I mentioned last live, and I think we're going to be talking about this more and more. I really do. And it's a hot topic issue. I know a lot of people on the conservative side of the aisle are anti-Israel now. It's like a new thing. And then you've got people on the left that are definitely anti-Israel. And it's a dicey topic, and it causes such anger and angst and division, which is just that alone, just so people know, that is biblical, that this division continues and it only ramps up. And so I think it will continue. There is unfulfilled biblical prophecy that definitely, it's all of it entails the land of Israel, the people of Israel. And some stuff has been fulfilled, some hasn't. Like I mentioned, Ezekiel 37 in the Bible talks about people living in that Gaza territory with no walls and in peace. And that's never happened. Like I said earlier, it's always been a crazy, just nuttiness over there, just nuts. And so the idea that could actually happen, or people could live in peace, and the Bible actually talks about no walls and it just being peaceful and everybody getting along before actually then a war does break out. But there's a period of time where it's peace, like that has me I'm very curious about it. I'm very curious watching how this develops, watching how Trump negotiates. I don't know how you negotiate with, because if it's technically not owned land, who has dominion over that land? That's the huge debate. And then you just go and start building and cleaning it up and relocating people. I don't know how this looks. And so I'm very curious, what does this look like? And so anytime he talks about it, I'm like, wait, what did he say? What did he say? So I'll be watching it unfold. I know a lot of people are outraged. A lot of people say they don't want the Palestinians to leave, but what kind of life is it there right now? It does look like a just absolute wasteland. It looks it doesn't look like a safe living environment for anyone to be living there. And then there's the question of where do these people go? right? Who takes them in? What negotiations are made in order to take them in? And I don't know. I'm fascinated by this story. And so I'm very curious to see how this unfolds, and I'll be updating you guys. You can update me as well as things kind of develop. This before we wrap it up, this is because I study the left. This is what I do. I like have to play them, and I act like them. I have to think like them for things. And the new talking point, if you guys haven't noticed this last week, is it's a constitutional crisis. Somebody put out the lingo for the week, and they're like, we're just gonna say that whatever Trump, Elon Musk are doing, it's a constitutional crisis. Okay, we're just gonna go with it. And if you were to actually get in a conversation with the leftists, and you would say, could you just tell me how this is a constitutional crisis? They wouldn't know. They just know constitutional crisis and say it because that's what we've been told to say. That's what the mainstream media is saying. So that's what we will regurgitate. And I think that's I've seen this unfold. I'm seeing it happen, and I think it's funny to me that any lefty or Democrat preaching Constitution to you should be laughable. It should be laughable because these people do not like the Constitution. Okay, under Biden, they violated our First Amendment right, which is the government to not tell you how to speak or to police your speech in any way. And it came out that the Biden administration colluded with big tech on censoring American speech. So violating the First Amendment. Don't even talk to us about loving the Constitution right now. Please stop. Also, the Second Amendment. You guys can't stand the Second Amendment. You can't stand it. Your whole focus and fixation is disarming Americans and getting rid of our right to bear arms. So don't come at us saying you want the Constitution and it's a constitutional crisis and you're so concerned about the Constitution. Stop it. Again, the Fourth Amendment, which is protects the government from getting up in your business without a warrant. You guys are all about getting on our emails and our devices and without any kind of warrant. You did that to the Trump campaign back in 2016 with FISA warrants that were just completely an abuse of the Fourth Amendment. Okay, 10th Amendment, the right for states to be able to do what they want, departed from the federal government for state rights. So don't with the Constitution. Like, pick another talking point, but don't come at us like, oh, you're so constitutional and you really care about the Constitution. The Constitution is the only thing that held us back from being completely overrun and overran by the Biden administration with COVID. Okay, it was the Constitution that stopped you guys from force injecting us with chemical substances. Like the Supreme Court then had to come in and say, wait a minute, you can't use OSHA, you can't use government agencies to force Americans to do this. You can't do that. It was the Constitution that had the Supreme Court rule in our favor. So you guys don't love the Constitution. You don't like the Constitution. If you could, you'd shred it up just like Pelosi shredded up Trump's speech. That's what you do with the Constitution. Oh my gosh. Like, I was like, okay, stop it. Like, just right. It's a constitutional crisis. And the what they're taking that from is the House of Representatives, right, controls the purse, right, which is how spending happens, right? So they determine where we spend and how we spend. Well, what we found with Elon Musk coming in and peeling back and looking into how these government agencies and how money is being spent, that's what they don't want, right? They don't want us to see how it's being spent. And to be honest with you, I don't think the House of Representatives, once they give to these agencies, I don't think there's any eyes on it. I don't think anyone's watching anything after that takes place. They're like, okay, we budgeted in the Department of Education gets such and such a year. Okay. And then it goes away. And nobody at that point, I believe, is like, okay, now let's see what the Department of Education has done with the money and let's track it. It's just sent over there and forgotten about. That's what the House of Representatives has done. So yes, they control the purse strings, but I don't believe that they have any eyes on where the money is going or how it's being spent. That's my take. And so it's not a constitutional crisis to say, okay, now we need to look at how it's being spent, how it's being abused, and how it's being wasted. That's all that's happening. So it's not a constitutional crisis. You guys. So that's it. That's a wrap. That's a wrap for me. That is the week. Oh my gosh. It's exactly 1 hour. Yes. 1 hour and 10 seconds, 11 seconds. But that's it. That's it for me. And that's kind of what's going on. So, yeah. What else we got coming on here? Let's see here. So yeah, I'm just like accountability, right? Like let's, and I think more is just going to drop as the week goes on, and we head into next week, and they start going into these other agencies, and they start saying, wait a minute, like this is being spent on this, and we start to really figure that more and more out. I think it's going to wake more people up. I think if you're on the left and you realize how you've struggled to get by financially, and then you see our government take your money and just blow it, that should bother you. And the fact that this is the first time ever anybody's trying to find out where your money's being spent, like no one should have a problem with that. So that's it. When is the State of the Union? That's a great question. I don't know. Let's look it up. Government was long overdue for a good house cleaning. Yes. And the fact that it's happening, because if this continues, I mean, what hope do your kids or grandkids have? If they continue to spend and spend and spend, and we're trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in debt, like what chance are we giving the future of Americans? Like, what are we giving them? We need to balance the budget. We should be spending more than we're bringing in. And if we can get rid of a lot of this waste, then that can help us balance the budget. And then you can see inflation prices start to drop, and you can see interest rates start to go down. But you can't do that until you start to get a grasp on all of this massive spending. So, some are going to shock. Yeah. Some are going to go into shock. I think some are going to go into shock. And I think like when you start to see more and more of this unfold, it starts to wake people up. So, what else? What else, you guys? Most likely, U.S. military. Yeah, military would be added. Okay, Christine, you're talking about Gaza, a military base in Gaza. The possibility, yes. But then there's this part of me that like, okay, let's say you build it up, right? And it's beautiful and it's gorgeous. And you have all these buildings. You still have like tension in that region, I think. And then are people that are living there in danger? Are you looking at terrorist attacks there? It's another area. I don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I'm just going to watch it unfold. Basically, it's not like they're, hey, Rachel, what do you think about it? I don't think they care. So I'm just going to watch it unfold. Let's see here. There's a video of David Schweitzer from Arizona explaining our economy. It's a great explanation. Find it on YouTube. Great to know. I'll have to check it out. All right, you guys, that's it. A happy Valentine's. Did I say? I don't even think I said happy Valentine's to you guys at the top because I had Cash with me, Johnny Cash, and he totally distracted me from wishing all of you a happy Valentine's Day. So yes, it is Valentine's Day, and you are loved. You are loved by God first and foremost, and that's the most important, right? And He loves you, that's the greatest love there is, really. And it can fill any kind of hole or gap or need you have is God's love, the love of Jesus. So I always kind of like bring it back to God on that because that's true love, right? That's real love. We get caught up in the emotional side of love and the the feeling side of love, but there's an eternal love that never, it's unconditional. No matter what you have done, God loves you and he wants a relationship with you. So that's something to celebrate. That's true love. That's true love. All right, you guys. Well, God bless you all. Thank you for joining in. Please, if you get a chance, support me on Patreon. It keeps me going. It's my supporters, and I always tell them that because I'm like, do I keep going? Do we keep doing this? And then I have people join Patreon, and it's just like, okay, well, I guess we just keep going. If you like the satire, if you like the commentary, then please consider throwing in a couple bucks a month to continue this effort. All right, you guys. God bless you all, and happy Valentine's Day, and have a great weekend. We'll talk soon. Bye, guys.